Mike's on.
No toast?
All right, sorry about that, y'all. We had a little. Turn this mic.
I did.
Okay. We had a little technical difficulties. I think because of the rain, some fuses blew out here in the studio, so we had to start over. But we get ready to jump in on tonight. We might go a little past 10 o'clock, so just bear with us. You want to introduce your guests?
Sure. Tonight, we have Mr. Benny Franklin of the John Maxwell team. And that is what, Benny?
Leadership. We're a mentorship group, a professional group of coaches and mentors, and that's what we do. We go around and see can we help people get some momentum in their life.
So that's like, say it's coach, teacher, speaker.
Correct.
And Cox Automotive, what's that?
Cox Automotive, we own probably 70% of the technology related to the automobile industry. We own Auto Trader, Kelly Blue Book.
Really?
Yeah, Manheim Auto Auction, V Auto.
Oh wow!
The digital retail.
What do you mean you own
space.
them?
Cox, we own that. We own all of those companies, and what we do, I'm an automotive consultant, and we go around different dealerships and help them use our products to sell more cars, have a
Really?
better customer experience.
Name that, go down that list again, because I always go to KBB. And
Well, we own quite a few, but the ones you've probably heard of are Auto Trader,
Yep,
Kelly Blue Book,
yep,
Manheim Auto Auction.
never heard of that.
Yes, right. You know the big auction over
The
there
Pound?
on Keys.
On Keys?
Yeah,
No,
Keys
they got a
and-
pound
I've
over
been
there
there.
now?
No, I've
Keys
been there.
Keys and Lemon, and Loop 12.
Yeah.
They got a pound over there?
Not a
It's an
pound.
auction.
It's an auction.
Oh, I didn't know
auto
that.
Auction.
Yeah.
Yes, auto auction.
I've
Where the
been-
manufacturer.
No, I didn't know that.
Well, Manheim is the largest auction in the world. Cox Automotive, it's actually Cox Enterprise. We're the 16th largest company in the world.
You ain't doing energy no more? Energy?
Yes, I
You're
do
doing energy?
energy. Yeah, I do wholesale energy as well.
Yeah, that's we signed Brick House up through for energy.
Yes.
Got rid of
The monster.
some excess weight.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
But yeah, we do commercial energy as well for different venues, like Brick House.
Yep.
So tonight's show is we're talking about prepping ourselves for life and just how we as black folks need to do a better job at doing that. So prepping meaning when y'all think of that, what do you think about? Like what kind of things do you think we are lacking in our preparation for the future? Like I think we don't do enough when it comes to insurance, our life insurance, when it comes to, I'm still not right, when it comes to wills and all those kinds of things. We just need to do a better job at prepping for our future and preparing our children for real life, like the steps that they need in order to be successful. So getting back to you and being an entrepreneur and things like that, that's several streams of income, which is part of prepping yourself for your future because you never know what can happen. And one thing can get shut down, but when you have more than just that one thing, then you can have something else to fall back on. Okay, so now we can go back in.
So we tying this to everything.
All of it.
Everything.
It's just,
That's good.
yep.
I think the biggest thing we need, particularly as African American, that's my perspective. We need patience, and we need to try to stop the campaign of the shortcut, of it's quick and easy. Right now, media companies are
Move your chair.
Okay.
Move it this way.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. It's fine.
Gotcha.
right now media companies are doing a really good job of hitting us where we're the most vulnerable, and that's quick and easy. That's that trading us that we want it easy, we want it quick, we want it
And
fast.
microwave mentality.
The microwave mentality, and they are marketing microwave mentality access and processes to us. I'm part of a communication company. I've been in those meetings where that's what, even the news now is sensationalized because it's trying to appeal to probably the worst trait that we have as human beings, and that's we like shock, we respond to shock, we want easy, we want it fast, That's what sells. So now when they promote, if they really want to get masses involved, then you have to have something in your media package that promotes quick and easy. If you really are trying to make it, because if you really just tell people,
You think that's good or bad?
That's horrible.
It is.
Right.
Yeah,
I kind of made a point about that, and I got a little pushback. I remember the night when I might have been trying to convey that. I was just like, it's just everything is so easy now. You know, we want our kids to always have it easy, and you know, we're not instilling hard work, and you know, it takes this to get to where you want to be, and
well, things are easier than they used to be.
right.
All right. So,
Especially technology.
well, technology is because of technology, things are more convenient. Our lives are better. There are more opportunities. That's why we have to, as a group, as leaders, and this is a cause that I really take on. I'm in part of the Maxwell group. We talk about this. Is we want to make sure that we get, especially young people, out of causes that they really don't need to be part of. It's okay to take a stance and take a principle stance, but you got to know how far to go, because you really, if you don't, then what'll happen is you'll overreact and think things are worse than what they actually are, and then all you promote is negative as opposed to abundance. Mm-hmm. And right now, as an African American, this is the greatest time ever in our history to be an African American.
Why?
Because you have more opportunities. Is it better? Now, let me ask you a question. Is it better than 1936 as a black person?
I wasn't here.
Well, you just you could reference 1936 to 1940 from what you remember, what you read.
Yes.
Do you think you have more
I guess you
opportunities?
got to be
I think it
specific
depends- I think it depends
in
on
what you're talking
perspective.
about.
Yeah,
Okay.
like, in perspective,
all right.
because it-
Example. In 1936, 1946, 1956.
Right.
All right. So there has been an evolutionary process. Now, are things, perfect? No, absolutely not. But you can't. Your mind can only handle this or that. Your mind can either handle progression, positive, keep moving forward, or it can handle negative and stay negative. If you focus on the negative, you're going to get stuck. That is quicksand, and it turns into cement, and you stay there. It's hard for you to move out of it.
Let me tell you why I responded the way that I did. Did it kill? Did it kill?
I felt like it did.
We having issues. It's
Live video has ended.
yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all just getting me fired up.
Man, it was about to get good.
But that's okay. Keep on, because we it's recorded on YouTube and on our system, so that's okay. But the reason that I said that is, when I said it's based on perspective, is because now I may take us a little bit off the topic, but I have to answer your question honestly. I think the black community, as we were in the 50s, the 60s.
Well, let me respond to that.
Okay.
That's partially correct.
Okay.
But part of it is we weren't as populated as we are now too. So population has something to do with that as well. All right, there are more black people now than there were back in the 50s and 60s and whatnot. And so because of that, we got exposed to different cultures, and there is some diversity there. And you're right in that the one thing that we've always tried to create a cause for is us coming together, finding some kind of unity as a people, and come together for different causes. We started off in one direction, and then as soon as we got, air quotation, some liberation, we kind of splintered off.
Exactly.
Because we all had a cause to come together on, which was discrimination and social issues. We came together there, and then people started getting what they wanted, and then there was no glue to keep the African American community together.
Integration happened, and we got comfortable with feeling like we are a part of the larger body.
And another thing that happened too, education got de-emphasized more, even more today. Education got de-emphasized. To me, I'm a big proponent that if we can get our kids right now educated, we'll fix a lot of things. Number one, education to do is it'll have a huge impact in crime. All right. Right now, a lot of the crime is directly related to lack of education. If you can get in poor communities.
I'm sorry. When you say education, are you talking about like regular elementary, high school graduation, or are you talking past that?
Well, I'm talking about education in elementary,
Okay,
high school,
okay.
college.
But proper
Because
proper education.
without the formal education of elementary school and high school, there's no launching pad to college. There's not.
Right.
Yeah, but see, that's what I guess that's what I'm trying
There's no
to
launching
get at.
pad to college without that proper format, because right now the problem that colleges are having, we have a lot of, and this is another new phenomenon that's come up, we have a lot of kids going to college, but they're not finishing college. They haven't been properly launched. And so now
I didn't finish because I wasn't prepared.
Well, and I think
Like
that's
at
the
all.
main
Like I got
thing.
there and I was
Yeah.
like, this is a whole different world for me.
we
I
weren't
don't know
prepared.
how to.
Well, but colleges are also benefiting off of you not being prepared for college because they put you in remedial classes, which keeps you in college longer.
Correct.
Which means you take out more loans to even, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, and they wouldn't
Wait a
give me
minute,
no remedial. I'll just drop
unless
out.
you're prepared in junior high and high school on what type of classes to take, how to, and this is a big challenge. This is a big problem. I have a lot of friends in education, a lot of family members in education. The public schools don't have the resources
Right.
to properly get these kids going
Correct.
in the right direction. They have a problem getting men as teachers.
Correct.
The kids out of control. For example, I got a friend of mine that I'm not even naming the school district. All right, he's an educator at this particular school, middle school. The teacher took the daughter's phone away from her, and there was some issue. The girl got real mouthy, real disrespectful to the teacher. But they were in the middle of a session in classroom. So she told her, she had given her a couple of hey, put your phone up. Because everybody's got phones. She's not taking phones or confiscating phones. She's not into that. Just put it up while you're doing your work. And the girl got real sassy with her and got very disrespectful. And the teacher went on to doing something else because she knows this girl is, kind of mouthy. So she kind of gives her a little rope there. But the girl got really disrespectful and just went and just started,
In her face.
while all the other students were working, and she became a distraction. So she took and confiscated the phone. All right, so here's the problem. After school, the parents followed the teacher, and beat the teacher up. Yes. Now, here's the thing. That's common.
You think that's common?
I'm talking to people. I'm passing along the information to you that the guys that are in there now. I'm shocked too. That was my reaction. He was like, "No, man, we're trying to figure out how to deal with all this stuff." The parents are encouraging the behavior, which makes it difficult for the teachers to lay any kind of groundwork or foundation or framework, is the word they use, to help them get focused and let them see, hey, you got to get math down, you got to get science down, you got to get this down. Even if you don't go to college, at least, get some basics down where you can be a functioning citizen. Because at some point you're going to be an adult and you're going to have to deal with some things. And it's going to require you having the ability to reason and figure things out. And we're trying to help you with that. And the parents are off the chain.
So
That's what's common.
Well, the preparation part starts at home.
Yes,
You
that's
know,
my point.
In order for you to get to the whole education process, it starts at home. So we need to, well, not we, but I think that there needs to be some type of elevation in the mindset of parents, and that's why you do have people. We have places like HighVibe and the Black of the Berry that enlighten the community on issues and try to build the people up and focus on issues that's dealing with us. You have, people out there that starting African-centered schools and that's just in Black-owned bookstore. So we have these things in place. We, as a community, as a people, we need to rally these parents to those places. We need to build them up because it definitely starts at home. You can't teach a child well, I'm not going to say you can't teach them anything, but it's very hard to get through to a child when you have to reshape them every day, every morning. You know what I'm saying? You have to deprogram them. And that's hard.
You talk about from an educator's perspective.
From an educator's perspective,
of what they're getting or not getting at home.
Exactly. And that's difficult. And
then
I've experienced that.
And then once they figure out, once they go through all that anxiety, a week, a month, a semester, or a year, and they look at their paycheck, and they just say, it just ain't worth it. And you talk about people that came in with a passion and a cause and want to help and make a difference, but it just wasn't worth it. The support wasn't there, and The ideology is not there, and that's why all these charter schools are popping up.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But like you said, it starts with programs like this. It starts with conversations like this. This is what I told Daryl. This was, hey man, let me support you in any kind of way because I'm big on how do we get things started with dialogue, conversation, communication. It starts by exposing people with information like this. Maybe some parent like that is listening right now and saying, you know what, maybe that was out of line. Yeah, that's out of line. Because the kid has to be a functioning and contributing adult. They have to have a better opportunity than what the parent had. And the world is getting faster, it's getting smarter, the opportunities are there. All they're going to have is a bunch of regret. Because the opportunities are there. It's not like it was back in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, not even in the 90s. You have more opportunities now to make a living, to be an entrepreneur. You got access to information, you got access to technology. You just need the right business model.
Yeah. But
and make that work.
Let me ask you this. When we're talking about preparing for the future, and you said education is the foundation, and I agree with that. I'm very big on education, kind of. And the reason that I say kind of because, like Solar was saying, sometimes it's almost, it can really feel like a hustle when you get out of high school and enter into college. And I'm not attacking higher education because I believe in it, but they sell this dream that you go through higher education and you spend this massive amount of money and student loans and debt and all this kind of stuff for this job, and really the majority of people never even get jobs in the field that they even went to school for. So they're spending all this money chasing this job, and now they're in debt, and they still don't have that job to be anyway. And then they resort back to entrepreneurship. Now, I think, and again, I'm an advocate. However, I think we need to get back to the days where we're teaching in preparation for the future. We're teaching skills and trades again, so that.
Well, that's becoming a big emphasis now. And let me add something. You're 100% correct. All right, is college a hustle? Yeah. Anything right now and everything right now has some hustle element to it. All right, it's a business. All right, what makes a business work? Boom. And as soon as they see that it's making and it's profitable, they're going to do more to make more. But that still is not a hindrance for you to get done what you want done. Your expectations just need to be correct. For example, we already know that from the time a person finishes, let's just say finishes college, unless it's in a technical field like science or medicine or something like that, that if it's in the arts area, if they get a BA, by the time they're 40 years old, they're probably going to change careers 3 times. We already have this documented. We already know that. So that supports your point that, yeah, when they go out with this dream thinking that, hey, I'm going to get this type of job or that type of job, unless it's a technical field, then they shouldn't have those expectations. And that comes from communication.
So they should not have expectations of the job that they went to school for.
Well, if you're going for arts, that's kind of, yeah, you got to have the expectations that, you got to be open-minded because that's a narrow field and it's not, if you got a BA degree, the BAs don't pay more than BSs. They don't. They don't. Science and, science is where the money is. BAs and BSs, BAs and Bachelor of Arts and administrative degrees, there's not as much math requirement. It's an easier path. That's a very competitive area. It helps you be competitive to have the degree because now when we're looking at, for example, I was in the automobile industry for 30 years, all right, and I spent 22 years of that in management, so I hadn't sold a car in probably 23, 24 years, but I've always been in the management of the store and everything. In a lot of the I've worked for 3 big organizations. And in those 3 big organizations, when we started talking about employees, bringing on the type of employees, depending on the position, if we were getting so many applicants that we made a decision that the degreed applicants had preference. Because now it's not like it used to be where you got guys just kind of walking in off the street. You get so many, your inbox, I mean,
So
I was
many people that
getting
need
50,
jobs.
50 resumes a day. So the thing is, so how do you sort through it and how do you get through it? So we had to put a priority on it, and we prioritized degreed over non-degreed. And so just by natural selection, the people without a degree could have been just as talented, but I didn't get a chance to meet them right on just because of the way it was.
Influx of your
Correct.
applicants.
Could have been just kind of, they are at a disadvantage just because of that, because of the mere competition. So just to be able to get a chance to get your resume in front of me and get it prioritized, then you better have a degree right there, or military, military experience. That we have put preference on military because of the discipline, and that's what we were looking for. And a lot of people, we talk about this. A lot of times, it's not necessarily the degree, and
It's the
especially
discipline that it takes to get.
it takes, you got somebody that started and finished something, and that's a rare trait, and that's an attractable trait for me as an employer to be able to bring on an employee that had the ability to start and finish something, get over some hurdles, get over some challenges, because anytime to start and finish something that takes years to do is tough. So if somebody can demonstrate that toughness to me on paper, then I'm interested in talking to them further. That doesn't mean they could blow it, because I know I've had applicants where on paper I was just excited to see them, and I'm just like, really?
Just let down.
Yeah, totally let down. But that's not my point. My point is, how do you position yourself to be competitive? So now it goes back to my point about education. Not about being let down because you thought you were going to get this type of job or get that type of job. That's the wrong expectation to be put in that person's head. You need your degree to compete and to be competitive as we get further along. Or you need a technical skill. You need a technical certificate. Like now, if you're in science and you really know about computers, you really don't need a degree. You need an A+ certification. That'll pay you more than a degree.
My son, my oldest son told me, he said, because when we were talking about him going to college, and he's in a technical field, and he was like, honestly, by the time I finish my degree, everything that I would have learned is obsolete.
Correct.
So it's really in somebody in that industry's favor just to get certificates, just to get certified in this area, because they keep changing it. And he was like, Mama, the amount of money and time that I would spend, it won't even make a difference.
My focus has shifted. Like, I'm shifting from sports and entertainment and all of that to, like, I'd rather use sports for the discipline part, to know how a team works, and this is what you got to do. Hard work is, because if you want to play on a team, you're going to have to be disciplined. You're going to have to know how to follow instructions. You're going to have to know how to work as a team. But I would rather us use sports now for that and to start focusing more in politics. I am like, and I wasn't like that always. I'm like convinced that we need to get more blacks in science and politics, because we need more people to represent us in the judicial system. We need more people inventing things. Like, I'm an advocate of having kids to, like, if you have kids, just get them to invent something. Hey, make me something that does this, or figure out a way. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get away from just the typical, and there's nothing wrong with these fields I'm about to name. I'm just saying, like a barber and stuff like that. I'm trying to get us to elevate the thinking that we have. Let's go into invention sites and start building. I think our people are builders, and somewhere along
we built this nation.
the line we got away from that and started just being consumers and ball players, and we're way more than that.
And rappers, that's our goal.
That's something we got to get away from. We got to get back to elevating.
But to kind of veggie back off of what Lotus said, she said something about her son said Yeah, I got that from Ricky Clark. If you're listening, what's up?
I know Ricky Clark. Things my daddy never taught me.
Yes, yes. But you said something about your son told you that by the time he finished with his degree, well, pretty much he might as well go ahead and get a certificate or some kind of trade. And those are the kind of conversations that we as parents and community leaders or people of influence need to have with children, because children don't know that. You know, they're being fed in the media like, go to college if you want to be great, if you want to do this, if you da-da-da, you know. And so the idea, and even parents in the home that don't really know no better, because I was one of those parents too, like, just go to college. But now I'm the parent that says, you know what, some people need to go to college and some people don't. And, you know, and I know your personality and I know who you are. And so let me guide you to do this. But if you have no idea what you want to do or where you want to go in life,
college is great.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and go to college and find yourself, because college is self-discovery.
And it's safe.
Yeah, and
Pretty
it's,
much.
yeah, but you can
And
kind
it's
of,
expensive.
well, it's expensive. You're going to pay for it if you don't follow the steps to kind of get it for free. But for the most part, if you don't have a clue, then, yeah, you need to go and find yourself. It may take you a year, it may take you 2 years. You may decide after your associates, hey, I know what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to do. So I don't really promote, like, college for like automatically just go to college, but you have to have a plan. And based on what you said about changing the field, I agree with that, too, because a lot of time, like, we just need to be, we need more doctors, we need more lawyers, people in politics. We need those people, like you said, to represent us. And we're not steering our children that way because our parents are kind of stuck into the you know, to the fashion, hip hop,
consumer network.
But I don't even know if it's so much as believing it. I just think that we don't really understand the system, and we're not trying to understand because we're so overwhelmed with trying to work and take care of our children and trying to make sure they wear Jordans, and you know what I mean? Like, we're so overwhelmed with all of this extra stuff that's being thrown at us that we don't even take the time to even pay attention to politics and to watch it, because we rather go watch Basketball Wives or something like that. You know what I mean? So the parents have to redirect the thinking and the focus of the children.
I agree.
That's true.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think that it's our job to kind of watch our children and see what they gravitate towards.
Right.
And mold that. You know, like my oldest son, he has always been super technical. And so when he was really little, my father was a pastor of a church, and I remember when he was like 4, he was following, he might have been 5, but he followed the guy. The guy came to wire the church with the new system or whatever, and he followed behind him and watched everything that he did. So then when he didn't work, he told my daddy, Papa, he did that. And whatever it was, but it just showed my father that this is what this kid has an interest in. So from there, he really started teaching him, like, how to build and, you know, how to install stuff, because that's where his interests lie. So I think that we need to get away from just being, so the show again is preparing for the future. I think that's part of it. Like, we have to do a better job at what are the natural skill sets that these children have, and how can we help to mold them and shape them into being whatever it is that it can do, because every skill set can really be, you know, profitable.
Yes.
If you work,
no matter
right,
what it is. I mean, if you tell your child, if she decides to be a maid while she's being a maid, think of, invent something that's going to make your job easier.
Right.
Think of ways that,
Not easier, better.
think of ways to innovate whatever line of work you're doing. I mean, that's what we got to stop making them feel embarrassed to be maids and mechanics and that's, I mean, if you're a trash man, I mean,
Start the business.
figure out a way that your job can be better. Or, you know, if you're thinking, man, I'll get tired of doing this, okay, think of something that can help you doing that. So
If we can get this slogan to stick, then I think we'll be off to a great start. Stop wishing things were easier and just wish you were better.
I agree.
That's it's got to start right there.
Hashtag it.
Stop looking for the easy way out. And I tell my kids, they listen, they're going to be shaking their heads right now because this is what I preach to them. The longest distance between 2 points is the shortcut.
Hmm.
because you spend so much time focusing on the shortcut that by the time you figure it out, you could have did it the right way anyway. And that's where we are, but we're vulnerable to that. You know, we're vulnerable to easy, 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 easy. No, life is not easy. We weren't supposed to be. It's not supposed to be easy. I'm not going to get into the religious aspect of it because there's a sermon there about that. But just it's not supposed to be easy. Success is not about being easy. It's a lot of hard work.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
It's a lot of anxiety. You know, people look at Daryl when he's up at Brick House and they see his glory, but they don't know his story.
They don't see me mopping and fixing
they don't know
lights
his story.
and
They just see his
up
glory.
on the ladder. I mean,
And
yeah,
that glory that makes
that's
them
true.
envious, you know, and they want to be like Daryl. They want to have Daryl.
But they don't want to put in the work to do that.
And that's what we have to stop. You know, we have to stop that. At some point, we just got to say, you know what, enough is enough. It ain't going to be easy. It's going to take some hard work. Even if you want to be a rapper, it's going to be hard.
You got to have that ethic.
It's going to be harder because there's so many other people want to be rappers. What's going to be unique
so
about
what makes
you?
you any different than
Right.
anybody
Right, what's going to be
Right.
you just got to work. You got to work real hard. So we got to get that work ethic back. And also something we got to do, and this is something you touched on earlier, and I'm glad to see. I know a lot of people are pushing financial responsibility in the African American community. You know, a lot of people don't understand how important having insurance is. All right, so since we're recording this, I'm going to give some data. All right, from the 1950s to I think I think the data stopped at 2010 or somewhere around there. Most of the generational wealth in the United States, there was a lot of generational wealth that was created. Generational wealth that was created in the United States. 70% of it came through inheritance. Okay, hold on. 90% of the inheritance came from life insurance policies. Now,
Wow.
hold on. Gets even better. And we're not even talking about $1 million life insurance policies. We're talking about 75,000, 100,000, 50,000, 60,000.
Yep.
So think about the impact. So think about this. If you, by the time your parent passed, you're an adult age. You know, you're in your 40s, 50s. If you're fortunate, 60s. If you're in your 40s, right now, if your parents died and they left you 150 grand, what kind of life would that put into you financially, Daryl?
Man, please.
If your parents, if they left you with 100 grand right now, just that kind of reboot that you get in life helps you
When you know what to do with it, when you finally figure out
Right.
a little bit about life.
Well,
and
you got a percentage of people that ain't
and
gonna know
then
what to do
boom.
with it.
Yeah.
But now we're in an era now where most of the times when if you get an inheritance like that, they're gonna you're gonna get to talk to a financial planner. It's almost automatic. So somebody's at least going to put that information out there, whether you accept it or not. That's not their cause, but it's just to make. It's like lottery winners now. Lottery winners now are required to go through a money management class, and they get put with people that help them manage money. It's a requirement. You can't get your money until you do that.
That's good.
You know, so
I could give you the flip side, and I'm being transparent, and I really hate putting myself out there with stuff that's not like what you want to promote, but for the greater good, I will. My parents did a wonderful job raising us, and I mean, my father worked hard. He grew up very poor, he and his siblings, and they all were very well off. My father started off, the way he got his wealth was he started with insurance. He was a top insurance salesman in the whole state of Wisconsin as a black man in the 70s. So he was beaten. I mean, he had trips to Amsterdam and Switzerland, all kind of stuff with insurance. When he passed, because he transitioned from that life, and then he got into real estate and all that kind of stuff, and he made a lot of money. And then he got more into, because he was a pastor, and pastoring and social service, and he got relaxed with handling his business. Literally speaking, when my father transitioned, we found his insurance papers on his desk, signed. He had switched insurance companies. The papers were signed, and it lapsed, and we lost darn near everything. because we weren't capable of maintaining what the legacy. We couldn't keep it because it was too big for us. But the money was not in place now, and we didn't know, which is why I'm so big on now, like learning. Like
that wouldn't happen to you though, because of that, right?
When I work with Daryl now, I really am at him about teach me everything and tell me what I could do to be better. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he gets on me about little stuff, and I know that there's stuff that I need to do better. But my point in all of that is saying that we have to really get back to the place where we learn the steps, because we had two choices. One, and I honor him so much, so it's hard for me to say anything negative about my daddy, but it'll help the community. But one, he didn't handle his business with the insurance papers, and two, he was such a hero that he really should have taught us, because either way we could have made it. If we knew how to maintain the business, we could have made it. Or if the money was in place, he could have made it. But he kind of spoiled us, and you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of stuff we really, literally just didn't know. And because of that, when I tell you it's a culture shock, and I'm not being boastful, I say stuff like that to be more of an example of what not to do, you know. And it's not the easiest thing to be that transparent, but for the greater good, it's like, that's why you got to get on your. I don't spoil my children like that. Like, my children, you know, they know how to move around on the bus when they were little and on the lift, and you know what I'm saying? Like, they know how to go get it, because I know that life of getting everything kind of easy for you, and then when it's taken away from you, you don't know what to do. You really literally, I'm in a culture shock still. But anyway, I just wanted to share that.
No,
I even said that,
but you know what? No, that's good. Don't hate you said that was
That's
helpful.
deep stuff.
That's helping somebody.
Yeah,
That's
but
helping somebody. But the insurance thing is a big deal, and it doesn't have to be. When people hear it and say, you don't have to leave somebody $100,000. You can leave somebody $20,000. You can leave somebody at least give them enough to bury you.
Yep.
You know, at least give them enough to bury you. You know, we've had here's something transparent. My mother's gonna hate this, but my mother has a doctorate, very intelligent woman, but she went through some hard times, and she's real lean for her right now. She didn't have any life insurance, and I said, Mom, you gotta get some life insurance. She's very religious. She said, Lord ain't told me to get life insurance. I said, Lord's not gonna tell you to get life insurance, because he knows you're supposed to already know that. You know, so yeah, you know, God don't tell you what you're supposed to know. It's like that's animal instinct stuff, and so that's not good enough. And we went back and forth, and I made her take a little small policy out, just so. I said, Mom, if something were to happen to you, because my sister's on drugs, just me and my sisters, and I'm kind of the son in our family, you know. I mean the literal son, and everything revolves around my wife and I. You know, and that's okay. We don't have any complaints. We've done well, and so with that, we know that, you know, we've had to take care of a lot of my sister's kids. You know, we have to take care of them because of circumstances, but we're okay. But I told my mother, I said, my mom, if you were to die right now, why would you put the burden of having to bury you, get a venue, because we would have to get a large venue. We have a huge family. Why would you put that burden on us just because you think we got it? You know, it's not fair. When you can afford a small policy that's $25 a month, you can afford that. I'll pay you $25 a month just so you
pay your policy.
Yeah, and so she finally reluctantly agreed to it. But when she did it, she didn't speak to me for a month. She was that resentful for it.
She didn't speak to you for one payment?
But you know what, though?
Yeah, exactly. He would point that out.
Right. But you know, but we're not raised up like that. Like, I mean, I don't have life insurance. You know what I'm saying?
My mom had 25 policies going at one time.
And if I was raised by my grandmother. Now, I'm sure my grandmother does, but she didn't ever talk to me, you know, about stuff like that. So that's not, like, the important stuff that, you know, I understood growing up was work. You know, like,
but you know what's
you gotta
funny?
Wake up early and go
that's
to
one
work.
thing we all gonna do is pass.
You're right.
That's the thing we don't get. It's like we are gonna pass, and that's
generational wealth. That's how we get our kids. That's how, if something were to happen to you, and your son or your daughter, what do you have?
I have both.
Okay, your kids, your kids. If you were to pass, if you live a full life, if you were able to leave them $25,000 or $50,000, that would just help them. You know, just getting that influx of cash right there changes a lot of things. Even if it just gives you a reboot, you maybe pay off a couple of bills. You know, it just helps you along that. And I'm gonna tell you what else that does, because when the kids see how it impacts them, you know what they make sure of? That their kids have the same experience.
Yeah.
That's right.
I told a
Then it
young lady to
builds.
spend as
Then it
much.
builds.
I told a young lady once, like I did a challenge, and I was like, as much as you spend on your hair, just put the same amount in a trust fund or life insurance policy or college, whatever. I said, just
Right.
put that aside for your daughter, and then you'll see like what's important. You know, I can go and spend
That's
$200 on
real,
some
too.
hair. You make it a point to put $200 away for your kids, and then that'll make you think like,
This is
is
how
this
much
really
I'm
important?
spending.
You know, if can I afford to do both? If I can't afford to do both, then
So
what do I need?
You look pretty healthy, and you say you know, you told me your age.
I was about to say
44,
I wish you-
45.
No.
Just turned
But
45.
you could get a $250,000 policy for like $30 a month. Did you even know that?
Do you sell insurance?
I
No,
know.
I don't.
I
No,
know,
I'm
you're
an
trying to
automotive
sell me
consultant.
right now.
No. I don't sell any insurance. At
I
all.
just got me some.
But what I am promoting is
But I'm
I am a
gonna say-
promoter of generational wealth, and since I have the facts that tell me where the majority of generational wealth comes from, it's not a bunch of rich white folks making other white folks rich. No, it's a bunch of people of all color having insurance policies and their kids getting the inheritance.
Yep. And just taking that burden off of them when you do transition, they're going to go through so much emotionally already. Why would you add the financial stress
Yeah.
to that?
And now there is something you did, Pete. My wife and I, we've buried 3 or 4 people in our family. Our money.
Without the insurance?
Yeah, they had the money.
We did too.
And you know, everybody knew we had it, you know, so it pisses you off. But at the end of the day, my wife and I, we made a vow, we're going to always do the right thing. We're going to always get over ourselves. And we're going to stop, we're going to do the right thing. Period. We're going to, you know, we're not going to stay stuck in the wrong place because we want our lives to be full and rich. And if you stay stuck in the wrong place too long, then weeds will crop up, you know, and then it becomes unattractive. You know, you can't even see your beauty because all the weeds around.
I mean, I understand insurance, and I do. I know that
It's
it's
very important.
yeah, because I've had this conversation with my family before. But I mean, when you look at a typical black family, well, I don't want to say typical, but let's just say you have a black family that the mother and the father works. They have 3 or 4 children or whatever, right? And so it's like most of your time, if you're not making enough money to support, then you have to make a decision. Like, am I going to pay this insurance policy? You know, am I going to be responsible for paying this every month? Or am I going to put food on the table every month? Or am I
Yeah.
going to pay this rent? Or am
But
I
to
going to pay
be-
this light bill?
But
And
we're not talking about
but-
those people. Let's say that circumstances won't allow you to
But
afford you that.
everybody needs
But
to
everybody's
have
not gonna
health
be-
insurance and life insurance.
I understand, but let's say we got people there that for whatever circumstances won't permit them to afford it. We're not talking about those people. Whether you realize it or not, that's a very small percentage of people. Okay, I know it sounds
Because
good,
those same people can eat
because-
out 2 or 3 times. a
but
week.
not necessarily. The people that are really, really poor, they're really poor.
Yeah,
And-
but what you're saying is that that's not a large percentage of the people.
No,
That are
that's
really
not,
poor.
and it's
And that's what
easy.
he's saying, because
It's
we
easy
can
to
think that
sell.
we're that poor, but we're really not, because
It's because we
part
don't
of our
have any.
lifestyle-
We don't have.
So
we
we
don't
need to
have
change
that
our thinking about
financial.
certain
We don't
things.
have what's called financial framework. All right. Like for example, when I was coming up, my wife just so happened to be. Her family was different. She's real good with money. I'm not. I'm a spender. You know, to this day, I have to have mechanisms in place to keep me because I'm real impulsive. But my wife is not. She's real conservative, but she's great with money. She really is.
That's a really good balance.
Yeah, I wasn't, you know. Now, coming up, we never talked about credit. We never talked about insurance. We never talked about the real ABCs of
Life,
finances.
yeah.
We never talked about budgets, what a debt ratio was. We never talked about any of that stuff. So we didn't know. We had to figure it out. You know, we had to figure it out. We didn't know.
And that's the problem with our community, though, is that we don't put enough emphasis on things like that. We just don't. We just don't. Like, the majority of us, you know, we really can afford to do better in certain areas, but we really have to be honest with ourselves and look in the mirror and say, what are my real priorities? You know, is it hanging out, you know, 3 times a week or even a month? Like, even if you have to sacrifice that for the bigger picture, okay, you can still hang out.
Some people
but
can
maybe
put
your
their
hanging out is at home.
some people could put their kids through college just on
They spending money.
like glamour items, you know, nails and eyelashes and eyebrows and hair.
Well, a lot of
and
people don't look at what
products.
it takes for them to live. All right, so since we are live, I'm
I definitely do.
going to share something with a lot of people. A lot of people don't know, and I've shared this with churches and everything. This is a real short version. So the first thing that we should be teaching our kids is we need to be teaching our kids to live within their means. Now, first of all, we have to define means.
Right.
All right. So here's the definition of means. All right. You take your net income, whatever that is. All right. So let's say your net income is $100. Then ideally, you're supposed to be able to live off of $70. Okay. The plan is 70. It's called 70, 10, 10, 10. All right. So you're supposed to be able to live all your bills, live off of 70% of the net income, not gross, net income that you bring in your house. 10% supposed, the other 10% is supposed to go to charity or tithes, whatever your belief system is. The other 10% is supposed to go to life insurance or whatever other investments, and then the last 10% is supposed to pay yourself. Yeah, you're supposed to pay yourself. Now, the first thing you have to do is you have to identify where you are. So that means you have to, are you ready for the truth? So at some point, I don't care if it's today, next month, next year, you need to sit down and write out all of your bills and all the money that you spend and look at and compare with how much money you bring home and find out what your ratio is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you realize you're at 95%, well, you're on the verge of bankruptcy. Because you can't live off 5% margins. You can't.
I saw mine. I almost threw up. I'm
Mine
like, I
too.
don't want to. I looked at what I was spending at one time, and I'm like, and I don't even think I spend a lot, but I was like, wow, you did that? You spent that much on that?
Now, my margin's still pretty tight. But once I got that information, and this is very recent information for me, once I got that information from a financial person, very successful person, he was like, okay, here's the secret. Here's what you're supposed to be doing. Here's what we teach. And it's that formula I just shared. And it's that simple. And that's where you start. And you have to teach people that. Now, the problem is who's going to do that?
It's not easy.
I think that if that's something that you practice at home, your children will pick it up. You'll do it. Your children will learn, but that's got to be something you'll practice at home. And how many people do that?
Ain't nothing easy. That's people got to understand. Ain't nothing just gonna be easy. You got to have some discipline in some areas of your life.
But you have to make sure you share it with your children too, like you said, because I know I budget at home a lot. But you know, my children they don't know. You know, they don't
That's
know
your
what
job,
I do.
teacher.
But I, you know.
So are you saying that?
So what age do you think you're going to teach them?
They need to learn now. I mean, they're 10 and 8. They need to learn now. But we have to be cognitive to teach them that. Because my 18-year-old, I didn't teach her any of that. I tried to at the end, but I got so overwhelmed with just some other stuff. You know, I just neglected to teach her. So she's going to have to find out the hard way. But the other two, I'm going to definitely have to get onto them. But we just have to be mindful of teaching them everything that we know.
That they need to know, preparing them for
exactly
life and adulthood. And we do have to do better.
Budgeting and balancing bank accounts and all of that stuff.
Was that a zipper on your sleeve? That's a zipper shirt.
You're so easily distracted.
Zipper shirt.
Are you? Oh my gosh, you're easily distracted.
I didn't see that. That's creative.
Thank
That's
you.
Funny.
So what are you going to teach your children?
ADD.
You be what? Did I?
No, what are you?
I ain't having no more kids. I'm
You have a
50
whole
years
basketball team full of children.
Oh, okay.
You do.
Right. I ain't even. I can't even get to the financial part with kids I deal with. I got to get to
Low
just
expectations.
discipline, behavior, respecting authority, hard work, teamwork. You know, I'm at that level. I haven't gotten to the financial level because I don't have enough time for that. But you know, I'll drop a nugget every now and then. But for the most part, it's about attitude. I preach that all the time. I say no matter what you do,
Respecting each
your
other.
attitude is going to determine how high you go. And I tell the most talented boys on the team, if you don't fix your attitude, you're going to be sitting under a tree somewhere. No matter how much talent you have, your attitude is going to affect who selects you to do this or do that, or how high you're going to
That's
go.
real though.
Sometimes I think with large groups like that is because you may not be able to capture all of them, especially if it's like a blanket,
Yeah.
statement or something, because it just sounds like, oh, he just preaching or discipline.
really personal.
But if you make it personal, if you pull one, out like whenever, because I know today, it was a little girl that I noticed something on her neck. And so I questioned her about it, but I pulled her away from the whole class.
Yeah.
And no one knew what we were having a
It wasn't no
conversation about.
spectacle.
Right. But we had a straight up conversation because I just felt like it was just, the conversation was necessary. You know what I mean? And so sometimes, and this particular girl has a very nasty attitude. I really don't even like talking to her. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. Like, cause
But you knew she needed that.
yeah, because every time you talk to her, it's some pushback, it's some attitude, and
But you gotta remember, it's not her.
I understand.
It's
I
coming from
understand
somewhere
that.
How old
else.
is she?
She's in the 8th grade,
Just like 12. 13.
so she got to be 13 or 14. But my point is that
Was that little girl with the cell phone? No. I'm just
no,
kidding.
no. But my point is that even though I hate really dealing with her because she got a nasty attitude, but I just felt like it was necessary, and so in that exchange, we were able to bond a little bit. I was shocked. I didn't let her know, but you know what I mean. I was like, hey.
I might talk to you tomorrow.
But sometimes, right? But sometimes I just feel like when you're able to kind of grab one here and there and here and there and here and there, then and give them that jewel,
I got it. That makes
or
sense.
take them under your wing or whatever it is, that you're able to kind of reach them more, and at least impact one instead of trying to impact 30, and you don't know if one really grabbed it or not.
You know something my son said to me that kind of really bothered me? He was like, Mom, I wish it was a class that I could take just how to be a man. That hurt my feelings.
Wow.
He was like, that hurt my feelings.
Man.
He said, because he said you did the best that you could, but it's some stuff you don't know, so you couldn't teach me, and I didn't have nobody to teach me. So now, when, like, and he's 20, but when men ask him, how to do certain things, he'll say yes, because he just embarrassed to say no, but nobody taught him.
Well, the good thing is he can YouTube it now. So.
But not everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are some certain things about just every stage of life.
I mean, a lot of it is just how to interact and how to
all
maintain,
that
how
kind
to,
of stuff.
you know,
and then we judge
how
them.
men react
And we judge, and even like me, I know I could judge girls sometimes, and then, but listening to you say that made me think like, maybe she had nobody to teach her, and I'm over here judging her like this nasty attitude, and she dressed.
That's
like
why I
this.
always say it's something deeper. That's why I never blame the kids. I know it's coming from somewhere because everybody's born a blank page, a blank record.
It has to.
So
but,
somebody's
Environment
doing
does
that.
play a big role in it. And behavior has a big role in
They
behavior.
just give you so much pushback, though. It could
But
be
I'm
challenging.
thinking about like, and this is going back to the preparation, just the basic things that we really, I almost feel like we need to come up, like get people to get involved and say, these are the basic things that we need to know. And that we need to really actively, on purpose, teach that to our children. Because something that I may think of, you may not think of. But we need to know all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of our lists may be different, but all of it could really be relevant. And if we could put all that together, we can maybe just really create
All of it
some
is
very
relevant to
productive-
somebody, and that's the whole
Exactly.
thing. And that's where our expectations needs to be. It doesn't need to be, our expectation doesn't need to leave thinking that we're going to impact every person that's listening. No, you're just trying to reach a percentage of people. In our leadership group, the one thing we know that we focus on this, and when we speak to different groups, our expectations are laid out this way. We're looking for 20%. because it's a crazy ratio, but 20% always leads 80. We don't know why or how. Even in sales, 20% of the sales staff takes care of 80% of productivity. You know, 20% of the country,
rule is deep.
the 20% of the 20% of the country
Yeah.
manages 80% of the country. I mean, it's a real ratio. And so our expectations are, and it helps us not get disappointed, and makes us not be saddened if we go out and pour our hearts out and we start dealing with people and we don't feel like that they're getting it. Well, when we size up the group, if I've got 10 people in a group, then I have to know that really, according to my math, only 2 people are supposed to get it anyway. So if those 2 people were thinking like that, keeps me focused, because 20% are going to be leaders. That's just the way it is. Everybody's not going to be a leader. And that's what we're looking for.
And that's another thing that's important too. And I know it's time for us to wrap it up, but that's another thing that's important is we have to understand that the whole team is important.
Yes.
Like when you raise children to everybody can't be an entrepreneur, because who's going to work in those businesses?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we really need to make them feel like every role is valued and is important and is valuable. Like there are no big I's and little U's in no industry, because like at Brick House, it don't matter if Daryl was the bomb boss. If he don't have no
Somebody
employees,
got to get the glasses off the
then
table.
there's no
Somebody
business.
got to mop and
There
sweep.
is no Brick House if you don't have servers, bartenders, somebody to help keep it clean, the hostess, you don't have a functional business. And all of those roles they're just different, but they're all important.
Yeah.
But you got to have people to get it all done. One is too small of a number to accomplish anything great. You know, it just is. It takes a team. There's nothing significant that happened in our history that one person did by themselves. It's always in collaboration with other people. So if you think you can do it by yourself, then your cause ain't big enough. It's
That's
not.
real talk.
Well, but we also need balance though. In our culture, we need a balance of different, modes of income, I guess you would say. We just need a balance. We don't need the majority of our people working on low level industries, not, actually making or affecting change within their family, their community, or bigger than that. So we just need a balance. Like, even though those positions are definitely necessary and just as important, but we need to kind of raise the level a little bit and start targeting positions, like Daryl said, that's going to elevate us and that's going to put us into some positions to where we can bring other people up. So
Very well said.
Well, it is past our time because we had some technical difficulties, so we went a little over. We want you to come back.
No problem. I told this man right here I'd do anything he asked me if I'm in
You
town.
asked him to come next week because we're doing
He
small
right there.
business with.
He right there.
He said I told
you.
this man that anything.
That
he
didn't
asked
mean he
me-
wouldn't do what you asked.
that's what it sounded like.
If
though.
I'm in town, I travel.
Out this
I
way.
travel a lot during the week, but if I'm in town, no problem at all.
Well, next week, Stefan is joining us because she is very good at promoting small businesses and really black-owned businesses. So she has this really big event coming up at Brick House on November 18th, and it's called the Shopping Extravaganza, is it?
She got 30 vendors. I got to figure out a place for.
But that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. It's going to be really beautiful if people come.
You know what?
People
With
are
30
gonna
vendors,
come.
With
No, I'm
30
just saying.
vendors, they will shop at each other's
Yeah,
tables.
you can just shop. Like, come in there and shop.
And it's getting ready for the holiday
I don't know where
season.
people going to sit down and eat at, but
We want them to be up spending money.
like, man, I ain't going to make no money because
Yes,
they ain't got
games.
nowhere to sit down and
Yes, they
eat a
do.
piece of
Yes,
fish.
you are. You are gonna make money.
I ain't going to make nothing.
I'm gonna come buy me a
Nerve
piece of
with this
fish.
So much.
Ain't no seats. There ain't going to be no seats or
You
tables
stresses
left.
me out with this.
She hate when I be real,
can't
boy, I
stand
tell
it.
you.
It's not being real. You
You
are
need to
gonna
be
make money.
You need to be more optimistic. That's what you need to be.
I am. I'm not going to make a thing. That's what's optimistic. 30 vendors.
You get on my nerves. You get on my nerves. The 30 vendors will buy
I'm about to put a
something.
couple in my office.
The 30 vendors will buy something. They're going to buy drinks and food.
All right, I'm just saying, it's a good thing. I'm
I'm
sacrificing my profit for the greater good of the brotherhood.
I'm sorry. We find out this all the time about the power of words. And we're gonna make a lot of money. No, we ain't.
I've been doing this a long time. Lola still don't know what weeks ain't gonna be good. She can't deny that.
I'm done. So next week, Stefan will be joining us, and we're talking about the importance of supporting our small businesses and black-owned businesses specifically. So that's next week. Anything what we got to announce for this week before we do our closing remarks? So tomorrow, again, come out to Brick House for a woman's point of view. The guys is going to get in on that, too, because it's just good. It's just good vibes back and forth. 8 o'clock, there's no cover charge. There's open seating, and that's Wednesday. Is Aaron doing his thing on Thursday?
No, he's not.
Okay, so we're not doing.
We're gonna play.
We're playing cards.
We're gonna play some.
Thursday.
Thursday night.
Charles, thing.
Oh yeah, the wake. His wake is Thursday.
But that's during the day, though, isn't it?
I think it's like a
All day.
3-4 hours or something like that. But when we ain't doing that,
We kicking it.
it's a good old fashioned spades, dominoes. We just gonna sit in there and do that
Kick it like
kind
we
of stuff.
in the kitchen.
I think I might go buy a shade tree, a fake shade tree, put in the middle of the floor, and we can sit under the tree,
And do what?
play dominoes and cards.
Like we had a family reunion.
You might as well get a picnic table too.
So that's Thursday. Friday, we have our basement party, which is always a lot of fun. This is First Friday, so we have our First Friday feast during the buffet from 6 until 8. If you want to make some reservations, please give us a call ahead of time because we're starting to really, really, really get busy on Friday. So you probably want to get in and get your table reserved.
Dallas and Kansas City this weekend. We got a several Kansas City Dallas functions starting Friday. Meet and greet.
Ezekiel
Saturday night I got a
What
party.
Ezekiel
Yes.
got
Yes,
suspended.
got a watch party Sunday. Yes, KC,
Ezekiel
Kansas
got
City people all weekend.
Ezekiel got suspended.
He got suspended. 6 games.
Ooh.
And then this Saturday, I do want to give a shout out to Queen Agnes, who does such a wonderful job of, she does this big benefit every year. It's called Zacomo, and it's a fundraiser to raise money to implement water. Well, this year, she's putting water inside of a school in Malawi. So she's very, very passionate about that. That is where she's from. The last 2 years, the money was raised to get the schools. Now they have the schools, so this year they're raising the money for the actual water, which is a really big deal there. So we really want to support her. You can look on our page. We will have a link if you want to donate to that. The event is this Saturday evening. It's a red carpet event, and it is at the Biblical Museum in Dallas. A very, very beautiful place. So I think that's it. Anything else?
I'm repping.
All right. Who you repping?
Oh, you want me to wait?
Eagles? No, go
Wait till
ahead.
I'm repping Wilma Hutchins, the Hutch, the mighty Hutch.
I don't know nothing about that.
That
my
must
high
be a
school.
Dallas thing.
It's a high school.
Why
high
you
school.
repping
Dallas?
that this
No,
week?
Wilma
Is there-
Hutchins.
is
It's
it
outside of Dallas. It's
reunion
Dallas
time,
suburb.
or you just wanted to rep? You just repping?
Just south of 45, Interstate
Yeah,
45.
I'm repping the Hutch. That's
I
all
want
I'm
to rep
saying.
the Hutch then, homie. Repping-
Hutch too
I'm
much.
repping.
You repping Prince?
I am.
Oh, well, I'm repping life.
You are repping.
Life.
She got on her aunts. That's life. That is. That's a symbol of life.
Shaka Zulu.
He don't know.
I'm sorry. He thinks a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, this was your best show. I meant to tell you that. This is one of the best shows you've done.
Closing remarks, please. Is
That
your
was
closing
my
remark? That's your
closing.
closing
Solar. You brought it tonight. We need to take a break more
Girl, you
often.
be getting up under my skin. Leave me alone.
We
Please.
need to take more breaks.
Can we wait until after?
She brought it tonight.
She did.
Don't you think?
I do.
See?
So let's do our closing remarks. We're going to start with our guests. If you just want to give your closing remarks.
Well, first of all,
tonight's show.
Thank you guys for even allowing me to share.
Thank you for coming.
I have a passion. I told Daryl, leadership is my ministry, as I like to say, and I'm big and passionate about that. I do want to leave your audience with this. You said something that's a big deal to me. We do need to watch what we say and the words that come out of our mouth.
Goodness.
And because of the way our mind works, and here's what I want to leave everybody with. Everybody needs to remember this.
Write it down.
Your mind doesn't care what you tell it. but it believes everything you say.
Mm.
And that's why I think we're going to be great. We're going to have a great weekend. We're going to make a lot of money. And I'm going to say that every day.
You said that last weekend, too, by the way. Go ahead, Solar.
I have no closing remarks.
You done pissed everybody off.
Oh, I just complimented her.
Well, you pissed her off earlier. She ain't really over it. She just doing good.
Do you really think it was about me?
Yeah. You pushed the button.
I
You pushed the button.
Wow.
Oh my
It
god.
was about me, but you pushed the envelope. But right now you just
Good night,
irritated
family.
me.
Good night.
But right now you just irritated me.
Closing
you
remarks.
You said I said that last week.
You did? Did you not?
But at the end of the day,
Did you say that last week?
yes.
Okay.
But listen, Linda.
I'm about to do my closing remarks,
no, you
Lotus.
said your closing remarks because you repping your team. That's it.
Where's her power button?
You killing me.
We need more inventors, politicians, attorneys, doctors,
He really turned my mic off too.
judges. I didn't touch it.
You did.
It's on.
I just turned it back on.
I don't think your mic's been on all night.
They hurt me. Please believe.
No, I didn't touch it.
Okay. Well, it wasn't on, but I bet they hurt me. I carry. And anybody text and said I can't hear you. So my closing remarks are keep hope alive.
Oh, not the Jesse Jackson.
Keep hope alive. No, my closing remarks are we have to get to a point of honesty within ourselves. We have to get to a point where we are comfortable addressing what is uncomfortable. And what I mean by that is if you know that this is not your strong suit, it really is okay. Just find somebody to teach you. That's all. Be teachable. Be humble enough to learn what you need to learn in order to be successful in life. Be humble enough to ask for help with your children, with whatever it is that you're doing. If you cannot do it, it really is okay. It takes a very big person to seek out what you need in order to be successful. So, in preparing for life, if you're not good with money management, find somebody to work with. If you're not good with planning, find somebody to work with, because there are professionals in every area. And if there isn't one, if you cannot find one, then do like G said and create it. If you see that you have a need and you cannot figure it out and you can't find anybody to cater to it, that's when you need to start your wheels to turning and saying there is a gap here and I see a need and I don't see how it can be filled. What can I do to fill it? Because that might be your calling because it was pointed out to you. So those are my positive words for the night. And we will see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace. That was 1 minute, Lotus. You did good.
Say,
What?
don't you talk about her.
I'm not talking about
her
her.
wrap-ups no more.